Well, hello everyone. My name is John Brenneman. I'm the president here at MOAA Vacations, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. In just a few minutes, I'm going to turn it over to Bret. Bret has a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about all of their products: Viking Ocean, Viking River, Viking Expedition, Mississippi River Cruises. So I think we've got a lot to cover. A couple of things I always like to bring up at the very beginning. We are recording this webinar. So either this evening or tomorrow morning, we will send you an email, which will have a link to this video so you can watch it again. And everything that we offer to MOAA members when we talk about the special pricing, the onboard credit, all of those types of things, the group departures, you're more than welcome to bring friends and family along. So feel free to share this video with them. So when you receive the email that has the link to the video, which will be uploaded to YouTube, feel free to send that to anyone who you think might be interested in Viking or joining you on one of the MOAA groups. We had almost 200 people sign up for today's webinar. Obviously, a lot of interest in Viking. It is one of the most popular cruise lines, both on river and the ocean side with MOAA members. So not surprising that many of you signed up for this. So we do have some people who actually have never been to one of our MOAA Vacation webinars before. So I was going to start out and talk a little bit about MOAA Vacations just real quick. Bret, did we have that introductory slide on MOAA Vacations? If not,
I don't have that one today.
Okay, that's all right. Really, basically, what we talk about when we talk about MOAA Vacations is we start out and talk about our service. And for those of you who've been on a webinar before, have heard me say this repeatedly. I've been saying it for, oh my goodness, 20 years now. We are and continue to be the only travel agency that offers travel on a satisfaction guaranteed basis. And that means exactly what it sounds like. If you have an issue or a concern before or during your cruise or your tour, you reach out, you'll either talk to me or our Vice President, Mike Tyrell. We do immediately escalate any of these issues to management, and we will resolve that to your satisfaction. We do have the guaranteed lowest price. That I always used to kind of couple that in with the satisfaction guarantee. Nobody's going to be satisfied if they pay too much. We do have exclusive MOAA amenities. We're going to talk a little bit more about the exclusive amenity we have Viking a little bit later in today's presentation. And then we offer opportunities to travel with your fellow MOAA members, not only in the city you live in, but MOAA members all across the country. So when we put these MOAA groups together, we promote them nationally. So it's your opportunity to meet your fellow MOAA members from one coast to the other. So it is an opportunity that we highly recommend. The camaraderie of traveling with your fellow MOAA members, the added enjoyment that we hear that MOAA members have from that cannot be minimized. It is a huge plus to it for those of you who like traveling with groups. So once again, I'm going to turn over to Bret. We are going to do a Q&A at the end. So if there are any questions that you have, we can address those at the end. If you want to see where the Q&A is, if you move your cursor to the bottom, you'll see a little navigation bar. There's one that says Q&A with the little conversation bubbles. You can just type your question in there. During Bret's presentation, I will be answering questions as they come in. If it's something that I think everyone will be interested in, I will actually answer it in the chat, and then Bret and I will talk about it again at the end. So as you think of your questions, go ahead and type them in. Bret and I will stick around until we get all of your questions answered. So once again, thanks for joining us. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bret, and Bret's got a lot to talk about today. So Bret, let's get started.
Thank you so much, John. It's incredible to speak to this group, and thank you all for joining me today. But thank you so much for your service, and being MOAA members is a big thing. So so happy to have MOAA groups. I worked on board our ships, Ocean Expedition, as well as our Mississippi ships. So I do know some of you who took some of those voyages and were able to enjoy those along with me. So so happy again to share with you. Viking has so much to offer. And again, my name is Bret Dalgaard. I'm now a business development manager, but over 5 years working with Viking. So great experience with excursions, hotel management, and even launching some of our vessels, some of our newest vessels, the Viking Mississippi, as well as the Viking Saturn. So going to share quite a bit with you today. Again, there are some new to Viking, so I'm going to kind of highlight what Viking is, but then go into a number of our itineraries, as well as what's new with Viking. So what's new with ocean, what's new with expedition, as well as what's new with river. Right now, we are sailing 7 continents, 85 different countries, nearly 484 ports, almost 500 ports all around the world. We really touch all the parts of the world. A big focus with our river ships throughout Europe. We really have so much to offer, and we're now even sailing into the Great Lakes, which adds so much more closer to home. Now, Viking really wants to focus on being a little bit different than others. So we're destination focused, we're culturally enriching, and we're carefully curated. All the decisions that Viking makes is for our guests, and it's curated decisions and very intentional decisions with the designs of our ships, the designs of our itineraries. We want like-minded individuals who really do find and enjoy the Viking philosophy. And we're not everything to everyone. So we don't have characters running around our ships like some of the others, but we really want those like-minded individuals who are there for the engagement with the enrichment. We want English-speaking guests who are like-minded. And so we find a lot of that with the focus of the destinations, with our curated libraries on board. It's a highly inclusive product. We're not a cheap cruise line. We don't want to be, but we want to be an incredible value for you, so that when you sail with us, you come back and you see and understand that we don't nickel and dime throughout. And we have many guests who, at the end of a voyage, have a $0 bill because they don't have to spend anything else while on board. The inclusive drinks and the inclusive excursions. So we really do want to make this a truly enjoyable experience. And as I say, inclusive value, there really is so much. Free Wi-Fi, Starlink Wi-Fi, the newest and the best that's out there in the industry. We offer complimentary to our guests. Our dining experiences are all inclusive. Even the Manfredi's and Chef's Table experience on our ocean and our expedition, those selective dinings, you just simply have to make a reservation. You do not have an upcharge for that. Beer, wine, soft drinks, lunch and dinners. Guests walk out with a glass of wine, and there's no charge for things like that. And our beverage package is very, very inexpensive, just $25. So if anybody is looking at premium spirits, for just $25 a day, you can have a number of glasses of premium spirits or even glasses of wine. So a very reasonable price. And again, options like our Viking Air with free ground transfers, so many things that we want to make sure that value and that inclusive experience comes together. Now, I talked about the guests that we have on board. It really goes to that thinking person's cruise. We say we're the thinking persons, not the drinking persons, but as you can even see in the picture, yes, we do celebrate the regional wines and some of the drinks we experience throughout the world, but we want you to understand and take part of the culture. So the experience is extended ashore, but then also coming back on board. And we want to make sure that our curated libraries, all of the destination-focused meals really highlight and showcase where you're traveling to. So we give you the chance to go out and go on excursions that touch local life and the working world. And then coming back on board, you have a chance for destination-focused dining, cuisine that highlights local fairs. We'll go to local markets. Our chefs go out and collect items from those markets, cheeses, fish and poultry. All of those items come back. And then some of our ships, especially our river ships, will host events like the Taste of. So Taste of France or Taste of Bavaria, Taste of Holland. And each one of these events then showcases all of the flavors. We'll have drinks to match and kind of go along with it. again, bringing that destination to you. Many of the ports of call will still stay into the evening. So if you'd like to go back out, you can go off and have dinner ashore. But we, again, want an inclusive value and don't want to charge additional for such things. So we bring a lot of that on board as well. And the regional cuisine onto our ocean vessels in our World Cafe, Ocean and Expedition, really will almost every evening have additional regional dishes highlighting where we are in the world. Now, I mentioned that we're not everything to everyone, and we're very proud of that. And so there's a few things that we are not, and I'll cover that real quickly. We are no casinos and we're no children. So it's an adult-only cruise. Again, we want like-minded individuals. We have no photographers chasing you around and trying to sell you those photos for $45, $50. No art auctions, no additional charges for beer and wine at lunch and dinner. It goes on and on and on. But one of the other things that I love is we have no inside staterooms. Every stateroom has a beautiful view of the destination. We don't want our guests to be inside and not able to see the locations that we're traveling to. So, please take a look at our different vessels, the room categories. I'll cover a little bit throughout the presentation, but the no inside staterooms is a big part of the design of our ships. Now, focusing on our excursions, and again, we have an included excursion in each one of our ports of call, as well as some additional opportunities for you to go out and see the working world, our local life, as well as privileged access. So Viking and our ownership, Karina Hagen and Torstein Hagen, have spent a lot of time on these itineraries and working to find little niche kind of factories or families who have an impact that region. So a lot of our tours will go in, you'll see and experience different beer halls or factories, a chance for you to see the working world, how everyone in that neighborhood might work and what the industry is, what their reason is for living there. I recently went to Kinderdijk and saw the windmills. You get to go up into those windmills and see how they work, and they still are working today. Privileged access. We go to places like Cologne, and Viking does support Cologne and the cathedral, and we're helping to pay for the renovations, which allows us to go up into the top of the cathedral. We have a tour called the Top of the Cologne Cathedral, and our guests get to go all the way up to the top and see the city. Only Viking guests are able to do that, but really all over the world. If you want to see the Sistine Chapel with Viking, it's not just going and standing in line for an hour and being rushed through. We go with the gatekeeper who opens up the Sistine Chapel. You'll have time and experience it inside, and really privileged access experience so many of the locations around the world. We really want to offer that to our guests, small, intimate groups, and a lot of that then goes into our guests' satisfaction and how much they love sailing with Viking. And that's why our river ships, River, Ocean, and Expedition, but we've been named #1 for Condé Nast and Travel and Leisure. So very proud and thankful for our guests who come back and sail with us again and again. I can say that I'm a wonderful person here with our sales team, but our biggest sales team is actually our crew. And our crew really do take care of our guests, and that's what brings our guests back over and over and over. And that's part of how we win awards and are recognized by our guests, is our crew who truly do take care of our guests. Now, the design of our ships is a little bit unique, and so we are able to utilize space. So the locks on the European riverways allow only so much space for the ships. But you can see one here, all the verandas and those no inside staterooms. You see the floor to ceiling glass on the front end of the ship, really four full decks all the way out to the aquavit terrace there on the front, where you can have al fresco dining. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are available there at the aquavit terrace, as well in the main restaurant there on the first deck. So again, lots of options for you, and walking space on the top deck. That way you can walk off some of those calories after so many meals on board. But the space is a Scandinavian design, so natural light. Winters in Scandinavia can be quite dark, so the light colors you'll see throughout really help to bring in the destination with those floor-to-ceiling windows. And again, we're an understated elegance. We don't want gaudy chandeliers. We want you to feel very relaxed and able to enjoy, but also a little bit of a high level of service and elegance. So we say ourselves are understated elegance, not necessarily luxury, and really want you to feel at home. You'll also find that on our ships, the attire we say is a cruise casual. Some say maybe an evening out casual or a light business, but most of our guests do find it very casual, as you can see, even from the two in the picture here. Our staterooms themselves, a number of different options from our veranda suites and our explorer suites, which are 2-room suites. So all of our suites are actual 2 rooms. You see all of that space in the veranda outside. Then there are the veranda staterooms, which also have some outdoor seating, a nice bit of kind of a sliding door and additional space, nice spacious restrooms or bathrooms on these rooms. Getting into the French balcony, that gives you still a nice slider door, a chance for you to see the destinations very much through and through. And then our standard staterooms, which are slightly larger actually than the French balcony. They have a picture window at the top, but give you a little bit more square footage, and again, a similar style restroom than the French balcony. Now, with all of our long ships, we have so many itineraries, and I wanted to touch on a few of the most popular itineraries today. The biggest one being our Rhine getaway. So the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube across Europe are some of the most popular itineraries and kind of the introduction itineraries to a lot of those of you who might be a first-time river cruising in Europe. These sailings go from Amsterdam to Basel or Basel to Amsterdam, vice versa, either way. Really, the direction is not too critical, again, because of the locks. Most of the riverways are controlled with speed, and so not too much between, but really so much to see. I mentioned Kinderdijk and the windmills, Cologne, the beautiful old town and the cathedral. Then you get into parts of Germany and some of the Bavarian flavor down into Speyer, and a chance to go over to Heidelberg, Strasbourg, and then down to Basel, the 3 cities or 3 countries that are split there in Basel. Now, on this itinerary, you will have time in both Basel and in Amsterdam. 4 countries altogether, 8 guided tours, so much to see and experience throughout. Now, another very, very popular itinerary, and we actually do have a group option for this right now with MOAA. So if you're interested, there is a group that's going to be sailing closer to November on this itinerary. So there's a lot to experience. Passau to Budapest or Budapest to Passau. Again, either direction. There's quite a few locks throughout. A chance for you to sail along, some time in Vienna, and again, both the start port, Passau, as well as Budapest, you get a full day in each one of those ports. And, I see places like Vienna and a chance for you to go out and maybe see the Vienna Boys Choir or some of the museums. Again, a truly highlighted itinerary. And anybody that is interested, again, there is the MOAA tour, the group that's already set up. So if you're interested, we can get you onto that. But also there's the panoramic sailing and Krems and going to Gatwick Abbey or all along the region. So much to experience, the wines, the flavors, the culture, and just the natural beauty. On our sailing day, our program director will share about the kind of castles and the area that we're sailing through. Again, providing the experience while on board as well in the destinations. Now, if you're interested in the Danube as well as the Rhine, we have a great itinerary that connects the 2 of them, and that's our Grand European Voyage. So the last 2 were both 8-day itineraries, and this puts them together into a 15-day itinerary, going from the Rhine into the Main and then down onto the Danube. So you can sail either direction. Again, your preference, either way. Ports time in both Amsterdam and in Budapest. So much to see along the way, and the ships are absolutely stunning. Now, this region you can sail year-round, and another element of it would be the Christmas markets. And so we do offer Christmas market itineraries on the Rhine and the Danube. So if that's something you are interested in, our 2024 itineraries for Christmas markets are pretty much filled up, but there is some space. So if you're interested in the Christmas markets, I strongly suggest booking those here in the next few weeks. Also, another itinerary that's very, very popular this year, and because of the D-Day 80th anniversary, is our Paris in the Heart of Normandy. We have some D-Day specific sailings that are recognizing the anniversary, spending some additional time up near Normandy. So if that's something you're interested in, I think the first 4 or 5 sailings are sold out, and there's only 1 to 5 cabins left on the rest of the sailings for this year. So again, if it's something you're interested in, look in the next few weeks, as those probably will be sold out here very soon. Now, the other riverways throughout Europe, we do have a few other vessels sailing around, including if you're looking at Portugal, we do sail on the Douro River. So we have 2 ships sailing on the Douro, a little bit smaller ships, 106 guests on these. Very similar with all veranda or outside staterooms, no inside staterooms. The Aquavit Terrace, again, sailing from Porto along. So you'll actually fly in to Lisbon, travel up to the ship in Porto, sailing along the region over, and then a chance for you to take tours to Salamanca into Spain, and then back sailing over to Porto, and then extensions that stay in both Spain and Portugal before flights back home. And the wines and the flavors, Porto and the port wines really are incredible. So I love this region, especially getting into Spain and the paella, the foods, the food culture. Our tours that go out really do highlight that, as well as music and some of the flamenco and other regional music. Now, if you're looking to see something really unique, sailing into Egypt has been a huge highlight. Our guests and our guest ratings and feedback for our sailings in Egypt have been incredible. And with that is reason why we are building more ships in Egypt. So this is a land cruise itinerary. So you fly into Cairo. You'll have a day there before a charter flight down to meeting the ship. From there, you'll have sailings and time with our Egyptologist as well as our program director. We have an incredible staff to crew, guest to crew ratio, almost 60 staff and 82 guests. So really a very nice experience. Now, the natural beauty, you see some nice lush greens here. The itinerary is not full of lush green. There's a lot of the sandstones, and when you see the pyramids, we do offer tours with camelback rides as well as hot air balloon rides. So a chance for you really to see and take in so much on this itinerary. But as you see in the top right picture, again, the floor-to-ceiling windows and a similar Scandinavian design, but also touches of Egypt throughout this vessel. Now, other itineraries, we really do have so much to offer, even over to Mekong. We do have those in Cambodia and Vietnam. So if you're interested, heading down to France, a number of other itineraries. So much to see. If you have any questions about these itineraries, please do reach out to the MOAA team, MOAA Vacations team, to help and to narrow down what options are out there. As I mentioned, 2024 is starting to fill up, but we do have quite a bit of space into 25. So if you're looking at specific itineraries, we can look at pricing as well as those itineraries and dates by reaching out to the team. Now, Viking Mississippi is our newest vessel, closest to home, and so very proud of this ship from day one on the Mississippi. It is the nicest and best ship on the Mississippi. The Viking level of service closer to home is so nice. Also gives guests a chance that they can even drive to the ship and experience the Scandinavian design and level of service, which we provide all over the world, a little bit closer. And so many of our guests do come to experience that and do not have to fly all the way over to Europe. So a little bit easier, but 5 different itineraries that we've been sailing, and then we do have 4 new itineraries that have just come out. But New Orleans round trip, also options to sail from New Orleans up to Memphis. Our ship did just have some renovations or a little bit of an overhaul to increase the speed, so we're able to embark and disembark in Memphis if that's a desire. We also have itineraries that sail from Memphis up to St. Paul now, but St. Louis to St. Paul, as well as the entire Mississippi, a 15-day southbound itinerary, as well as 22-day heading northbound. Now on the Mississippi, the upper Mississippi from St. Louis to St. Paul does get split up by 26 locks and dams, so that's a little bit more controlled, but the lower Mississippi does not have any locks and dams, so the southbound traffic has the right of way. So you do have to yield. So that's why you see it's a 15-day itinerary heading south and 22 heading north, a little bit more of a stop and go as you're heading north, but more time in the ports because you're able to spend a little bit more time on sea days versus port days. Now, there are some new things that are going on with our river ships. I mentioned a few of the itineraries. We are sailing now year-round with our river ships throughout Europe. So we have our Treasures of the Rhine as well as Treasures of the Danube. So those sailings are in January and February. There are no other lines that are sailing at that time. So really a nice time for you to see the ports of call, not necessarily with the crowds, not as much of the rafting or other ships side by side. So a nice way, again, to see it in a little bit lower season. Those are the new itineraries, Treasures of the Rhine and Treasures of the Danube. I mentioned the new itineraries on the Mississippi, 4 new ones. Those are listed on our website, a little bit of a variation. Currently, we have some land crews that meet the ship, a little bit different locations. And earlier, I did also mention some of the D-Day celebration or anniversary cruises. We are going to have a few of those into next year, 2025. Again, those who served at that time, there are very few left. And so we do want to make sure that we give the opportunity if there is anybody that does want to sail with us and really recognize the impact of D-Day. So much to see. We do have new ships and added capacity, as I mentioned, on the Mekong, as well as on the Nile. So much with our rivers. Now, jumping over to our oceans, Condé Nast and Travel and Leisure, again, named us #1 for oceans. These ships really are stunning. So much to offer on our ocean ships. The venues all throughout, the theaters, the spa, the sports deck. We even have putting greens. Well, that's on all of our ships, but really, again, so much to see. This is part of the inclusive package. So the spa itself is included. So you have a chance to go in and enjoy the thermal spas, the saunas, the steam rooms, the cold plunge, even the snow grotto. That's extended then into the destinations focused lectures, and we're able to bring that into our theaters. So each day we'll have port presentations as well as resident historians that are presenting about those locations. So much to share. Our cruise director will give you a little bit about the destination, and then the excursion manager about each one of the tours. Our resident historians also have office hours or time at our museum, a chance for you to go up and spend time and learn more about the destinations or even about Scandinavia and the Viking history. Now, if you're looking for dining on our ocean ships, we do have 8 different options for you. We have the restaurant Manfredi's and Chef's Table, our specialty dining. Again, those are included with your cruise package. Mumson's is our Norwegian deli. Winter Garden, where we have afternoon tea. Then we have the World Cafe and Aquavit Terrace, the pool grill, and of course, 24-hour room service if there's not enough options for you elsewhere. And I really do think there's so much to enjoy on these ships, and the destination-focused dining gives you so much to add. Now, our stateroom selections, there are a number of different options for you. Again, all veranda staterooms. So much went into the design of these staterooms, from the amenities to, as you can see, there's a heated towel rack in the picture there. All of our staterooms have heated floors as well as heated mirrors, so they don't fog up. The size of our staterooms as well as our restrooms are very large, very nice, some of the largest in the industry. and very subtle and smart designs. This is one of the Explorer suites, so a wraparound balcony, a chance for you to go out and take in all the sights from your veranda, as well as a seating area, as well as the bedroom. So again, all of our suites are true suites, as a hotel might call it, that does have at least 2 rooms. So we want to make sure that that's very clear. Here is our junior suite. It does have a slider that comes across to make it into those 2 separate rooms, as well as the veranda. Again, 2 different large options for you with the penthouse junior suite. Lots of space out on your veranda, and a 2-sink vanity in the restrooms. Our penthouse veranda is a little bit smaller, but still gives you quite a large width of the room, a little bit more space overall, larger than many of the industry. And then our entry level is our veranda stateroom. Again, quite spacious and still a quite large bathroom. And again, all veranda staterooms. Now we have so many itineraries. I could spend all day going through all of them. Traveling through Scandinavia and the Mediterranean are the bulk of our itineraries, but we really do sail everywhere through the Americas, the Caribbean, over to Asia and Australia. And then we also have some combined cruises where you can add an ocean and a river cruise and kind of do those back to back, and we'll assist with the transportation in between. I did want to highlight a couple. So our Homelands itinerary is very popular. It sails up from Scandinavia, from Bergen to Stockholm, or vice versa. It's so much to do and see through these ports of call into Gdansk, the tastes and flavors of Poland, traveling over to Warnemünde, where you can take the train into Berlin. One of my favorite itineraries, this was one of the first I did with Viking. As you see, just below Bergen and over to Eidfjord, with our small ships, we're able to go that far into the fjords of Norway. Not all ships are able to do that. So what looks like you would be traveling by land into Eidfjord, that's actually almost a river system into the fjords. So our ships are able to go that far, and it really is, again, wonderful for small ship cruising. Now, another itinerary that we're offering is the British Isles Explorer. This goes pretty much circumnavigating from Bergen to London, all the way around the UK. Again, very, very popular itinerary. The food culture, the music, the history, all around. Stopping in Edinburgh, one of my favorite cities. A chance to see the summer, maybe the tattoo or the Edinburgh Castle, and then making your way over to Bergen and seeing some of the maritime history there. Our West Indies Explorer is our take on a Caribbean voyage. So we do not do the traditional 3-day, 4-day itineraries that you might see on some of the large lines. We really focus on the small islands, islands like Dominica, which just has a single real pier, a chance for you to get in and see the rainforest and the destination. Little ports of call going over St. Lucia, again, the Spiring Pitons. So much to do and see. This is a San Juan round trip. So a chance to see the history of San Juan, a full day in San Juan before making your way over to the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and then down into the kind of Southern Caribbean. Another highlighted itinerary, and this again is one that we offer. We have a group itinerary that's sailing. This is going to be from Rome to Barcelona. The sailing that MOAA has put together, and that will be in early November. That's our quiet season. I absolutely love sailing through this part of the Mediterranean in the winter or in the quiet season. The crowds are much less standing in lines in Florence or Rome. In the heat of the summer, there's no air conditioning in many of those buildings. So going in the quiet season really is a very popular experience. But as you sail along, you have the chance to see Rome. We have port in Civitavecchia, but buses that go down to Rome and to see the heart, as well as extensions that spend additional time there in the beautiful Vatican City. From there, you'll travel over to France, and you'll have a chance to see Marseille as well as Sète, 2 coastal towns, but also a chance to head in to Avignon, as well as some of the French history and landscape to Bordeaux and some of the wine regions before traveling over to Tuscany and really Florence is the port, or Livorno is the port, heading into Florence. The architecture tour is one of my favorite, seeing Michelangelo's David, really all of this region, stopping in Tuscany, having some of the food and the wine, really caps the region. Now, at the end, you will have time in Barcelona, another really incredible experience for architecture. Gaudi's architecture with La Sagrada Familia, as well as here, this is Parkwell, one of the parks he designed, all throughout. Again, the flavors, the taste, the music, all of Catalonia. It's, again, a chance to see all of that in an 8-day itinerary from Rome to Barcelona. Or if you are looking at doing that at another time, you can sail Barcelona to Rome. Now, again, I could go on and on and on about all of our itineraries. This is all of the ports of call that Viking sails to. You can see a big focus there on Europe through the Baltic and the Mediterranean, but we really do sail all around the world. We're adding more and more on our current world cruise. We are sailing around South Africa and building more relationships with the ports down there. So you may see in the future more itineraries sailing to that part of the world as well. Now, what's new with Viking Ocean? We do have new itineraries that are sailing along the coast of China. We have a number of different itineraries. We have a 10-day, 15-day, as well as 20-day itineraries. These are land cruise that give you a chance to see the Great Wall, the Ho Chi Minh, and the Hidden City. So much, again, that Viking focuses on those destinations. More and more itineraries around the world that we're adding. Again, some of the low seasons, we're trying to highlight being able to see destinations when you're not surrounded by huge amounts of tourists and very large ships. We go to those small destinations. And then we have more and more options with our world cruises. So this year we do have 2 ships that are sailing world cruises. So some options for you, and even longer world cruise coming next year with 180 days. So go ahead and put all your items, pack them away, and take a nice voyage sailing from Fort Lauderdale to New York the long way. So heading all the way around the world. It's really a neat experience. I personally have sailed a world cruise. I worked on board as an excursion manager, and it's something I will never forget, and something I really cherish. So if you have that opportunity, I do suggest taking it, and even options of segments of the world cruise are possible. So about month-long segments, very unique ports of call throughout. I mentioned those China itineraries. I won't go into it too much. Again, if you have questions or it's something you're interested in, many of these, I think almost all of these itineraries do have free airfare right now, which is almost the cost of the itinerary. So flying to Asia is not cheap. So if you're interested, again, there are a number that have free airfare if interested. Our expedition ships are our newest brand to Viking, the Octantis and the Polaris, sailing both north and south. Again, first year sailing, we won Condé Nast and Travel and Leisure's #1. So our awards really do come in with the accolades, and it really does show the beauty of the ships as well as the strength of our crew. Here's a neat picture of some of our Zodiacs, our special operations boats. We also have submarines on these vessels. There's kayaks being pulled behind one of those boats there in the center. So much that allows us to see the destinations for what they are. The design of the vessel is small enough to get into the small ports of call, but large enough. It's a polar class vessel, polar class 6, allowing us to go into a number of different destinations based on the ice. We have discovered a number of different things. We discovered a new island, a new colony of penguins. We've seen a phantom jellyfish, which hasn't been seen in years. So part of this is also research. We have a full expedition and research team on board that are helping and also working with you side by side, launching weather balloons. And you're taking part of the experiments and the science along with it. But so much to see with these ships. Again, all outside staterooms, no inside staterooms. We do have the spa, the theater, We've got our Explorers Lounge, the World Cafe, Manfredi's, the restaurant, so many options similar to our ocean ships and a designed ship. It's not a refurbished ship like some of the others that are out there as Expedition. This is a designed vessel with your kind of level of comfort in mind. I say level of comfort, and this is one of our staterooms. This is one of the Explorer suites. It's a 2-room suite. You see the bedroom is separate. It does have an outdoor space as well, a nice outdoor veranda, as well as a shared garden with just the Explorer suites. Our Nordic suite does give you, again, a curtain or a pulled wall that comes between. Again, a chance for you to have almost those 2 rooms in your suite. The window that you see in front does slide down. It's our Nordic balcony style windows. So it slides down, again, opening up to the destination. Penthouse, our Nordic penthouse staterooms, again, quite spacious, has that slide down window. So much to offer there. Large restrooms, again, similar to our ocean style restrooms. And then our standard Nordic balcony staterooms, again, has a nice couch focused very much, again, on the destination. You see an image of Antarctica there outside the window. All of the rooms have refrigerators as well as Nespresso machines that are replenished daily. So a nice way to sit and relax. And again, room service, 24-hour room service. So you can enjoy breakfast in your stateroom and taking in the destinations. Here's the standard stateroom bathroom. So this is the most basic bathroom that we have on our ships, but quite spacious. Again, this is the heated floors, the anti-fog mirrors, all of our amenities, our Fria, which is a Scandinavian amenities. And again, so much to offer and comforts, but the destination truly is the highlight. And that's where this itinerary is really one of our highlighted. It's the Antarctic Explorer, and it sails from Ushuaia all the way down to Antarctica. Now you'll start by flying into Buenos Aires and then a chartered flight down to Ushuaia where you'll meet the ship. And then you'll start making your sailings. And as you can see, it says Antarctica from day 4 to day 10. But that really does depend based on your expedition leader and captain. So they'll be looking at the weather, they'll be looking at sightings, they'll see where the most wildlife has been, where the ice flows have been. And so you see all the little names of the locations. So each week, the itinerary does change, and it's based on what's going to be best for our guest. And so the captain and the expedition leader will work together each day, looking at the next day to see where you'll end up going. Now, you do cross the Drake Passage, and that is a big part of traveling to Antarctica. So take in that experience. It can be the Drake Lake or the Drake Shake. So a wonderful overall experience, and guests come back really raving about this. Now, closer to home, up in the Great Lakes, we do have a number of itineraries that do go to all 5 of the Great Lakes. You can see there in the center, the Great Lakes Explorer is, again, another group trip that's set up with MOAA Vacations. Again, if you're interested in this, it's a 2024 itinerary. There's few space left. So again, sooner rather than later, do jump on that. But really, any of the Great Lakes itineraries, there's still some space throughout the summer. It does bounce between the US and Canada, giving you a chance to sail on an internationally flagged vessel with our incredible international crew. Then again, sailings from Toronto to Milwaukee. The Great Lakes Explorer, which I was discussing, does go from Milwaukee there to Thunder Bay, but then Thunder Bay back to Milwaukee, another itinerary. Now, the Georgian Bay is that Canadian side, and we have a few days that you'll spend there. It does, again, change a little bit with our expedition leader and our captain, but a lot of the time we'll go to Killarney as well as Okeechobee Lodge, and the settings look very much like this. It's untouched lands, over 10,000 islands in this region. We take out our submarines, our Zodiacs, our kayaks. You have a chance to go hiking, fishing, so much to do and see. We also then head over to Mackinac Island. You can see the Grand Hotel there in the background. Our ships are small enough to get into these destinations, and it really is wonderful what you can see on such an island that has I want to say there's maybe 2 cars. There's an ambulance and something else, but it's an island that's really well preserved, horse and carriage throughout the main part of the island. And then heading over to Silver Inlet. This was previously a silver mining city. You can see one of our special operations boats there. Again, these are part of the experience. So the Zodiacs and the special operations boats are included excursions that you'll be able to go out on. So, so much of an inclusive value here in the Great Lakes as well. Into 2025, we are going to be sailing further north up to the Arctic. So if you're looking at sailing Antarctica and now the Arctic, we do have sailings from Toronto as well as Nuuk in Greenland. So sailing up and actually stepping foot onto parts of that Arctic Circle. So if that's something you're interested in, again, that's starting next year, summer of 2025. If you want to see all of that in one, of course you got that chance. We do a Arctic to Antarctic latitudinal world cruise, so you can really see so much. Sailing the East Coast, the West Coast of South America, East Coast of the United States. Actually, I believe one of our ships will be in Charleston tomorrow and Norfolk the following day. As you can tell, I'm not from Norfolk because I say Norfolk. So the next few days, if you are in that region and want to see the ship, you might be able to drive past there in Charleston or Norfolk. So this itinerary is sailing right now, heading up to the Great Lakes. And then in 2025, we'll go all the way up to the Arctic. Now, there's a few new things, as I mentioned, with our expedition ships. We are doing more and more research, but the Arctic and Antarctic, the new latitudinal, we're making some adjustments for the 26 and 27 itineraries. So more and more to see, and the science is really so much of that. And you being part of it is a big element. Now, I've spoken for quite a while, so I see there were a few questions that came up, but really want to wrap up with, working with MOAA Vacations is huge. And I think there's so much that they have to offer from their experience. Steve, Mike, Lisa, now Lydia, there's so much experience with this team, and I'm very proud to work alongside them. So please do reach out. As you see here, there is, for the month of April, an additional $100 per person of shipboard credit. That's just for MOAA Vacations bookings. So if you're interested in any booking, that can be applied through the month of April. So don't wait too long, but reach out, take a look at different itineraries. As I mentioned, we had some groups that are going out. So the Danube, a 7-day Great Lakes, as well as that Western Mediterranean. So there are group rates, and this is going to be a little bit less than what you might see even on the website. So what we're able to do with MOAA Vacations is provide pricing that is much better. So please reach out to the team, and you're going to be able to get the best possible price, as well as that additional shipboard value. Throughout the month, we are just offering $25 deposits. So if you are interested at all, just $25 does lock in that price. So you're able to lock that in. And many of our itineraries this month with our spring sale do have free international airfare. I know the groups that were just shown, there's one that has $5.99 airfare, another that's $7.99. So getting over to Europe for that price really is quite good for a round trip. So with that, I really want to thank you for your attention. I look forward to seeing you on board. I absolutely love our ships, and think you will as well. For those of you who have sailed with us before, thank you for coming back and sharing all of your experiences with friends and family. So much of our business is all of those, and word of mouth and traveling with others and like-minded individuals. So if you are looking at traveling, ask your friends. Many of your friends may want to travel along with you, or have wanted to sail on the Rhine for a while and just haven't really made the effort, and you might be that factor to get them to go. So thank you. I think John and I might have a little bit of a moment to answer any questions. Yeah. John?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, we don't have a hard stop time. You mentioned some of the agents. I typically don't do that to not leave anybody out. You didn't mention Mary or Shar or Marilyn or Cindy. I'm probably going to forget people as well, but only our top most experienced agents work with MOA members. So no matter whom you speak to when you call, you're going to get somebody that's going to do a great job. And then I'll just
Absolutely.
circle back to what I said at the very beginning. If you ever have any issues or concerns, if the agent can't help you, or if you want or need to talk to Mike or I, feel free. It's John Brenneman, Mike Tyrell. Call up, drop an email. Both of us are accessible to members. If any of you have ever talked to me before, I actually provide my direct office number and my cell number. So we are always here to help you every step of the way. We provide a concierge level of service on the travel side. Okay, so we got a number of questions. I'm just going to go through them in the order they came in. We did have a question about the upcoming IPO and how that might affect service. I don't know what you can or want to add to what I kind of said, but I made sure I pointed out that the management team, the current ownership group, is going to maintain control. So it's more of raising funds rather than like in the past we've seen, entities purchased. Carnival when they purchased Princess, and then they purchased Kennard, and then they purchased Holland America. And the concerns back then was Carnival, was it the Carnival level of service was going to infiltrate those brands, which they basically kept independent. We saw the same thing with NCL and Royal and everything. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to what you've heard from an insider's perspective on the impending IPO.
Coming from our shipboard team and now in the sales, I want to make it very clear that our crew and our level of service is the number one factor into our success. And I don't see any of that changing. As you mentioned, leadership and Thorsten Hagen and his desire to be part of this company. I can't go into numbers and our success, but we are a very successful company, and the choice of IPO is clearly a decision made with our success, and I don't think service at all will be in any question.
I basically said the same thing, and you can get the numbers by calling a stockbroker, or probably if you have like a TD Ameritrade number, that's all online. I can tell you, having looked at it myself, the numbers are way up. They're at a high, and they're raising capital for who knows what. They've expanded into ocean, they've expanded in expedition. Who knows what's
to
coming.
The moon? No,
to the moon. Hey, space travel has been discussed. Okay, one of the things we always get questions about is singles. There's 60,000 plus MOA members classified as surviving spouses, so we know there's a lot of singles. People try to avoid that 200% single supplement. So can you kind of just talk briefly about what you have for single travelers, and then of course we'll direct them to either call or email so they can talk to a consultant who can work with them specifically on where they want to go and what's the best time to do to minimize that single supplement expense.
So on our ocean voyages, almost all itineraries for our veranda or entry stateroom, the single supplement is reduced, or so it's not the full 200. So if you're looking at any ocean itinerary, that is something that our team is able to look at and give you a better rate. Our river ships, because of how full they are, it becomes more challenging for single space. I always, try to see, as I mentioned earlier, see if there's anybody, a son, a grandson, a child, somebody that wants to travel with you. Share that experience with them. Experiences are huge. But if you are looking at traveling solo, the ocean and expedition have a little bit more space, and from time to time we do have it available on rivers. But again, because our demand is so high and those ships are filled up with double occupancy, it doesn't come quite as much on rivers as it does on ocean.
There you go. MOAA Vacation does do a single share program where we will match you up with roommates. Just because of the nature of the beast, we have a lot more women looking for this, but we do have people that we have paired up on a cruise that, and before you don't meet each other when you walk in the stateroom. We'll share telephone numbers, email addresses, let you guys talk, if we have, if you have flexibility. Let's say you want to do the Douro River and go to Portugal, and we have another single female traveler, or if you're a male, another single male traveler that's looking to do the same thing. We'll introduce you guys. You guys can decide whether or not you want to, if you think you can, travel together for 7 days. I can tell you the program's been a great success. We've never really had any issues. And in fact, the other side of it is we have people who 5 years ago, 6 years ago, sailed together on a river cruise or an ocean cruise and have continued to travel together going forward, because if you're a single traveler, it is not a one-time issue. It is an issue that every time you travel, you face the same kind of thing. And it's not just Viking. It's, if you're a single traveler, you're well aware that it's land, ocean, river, expedition, whatever it is. The single supplements sometimes can be ominous, to say the least. So if that's something you're interested in, when you call in or drop us an email, let us know, and we're more than happy to try pairing you up with someone. We had a question about mobility, walking in Europe, and my response was kind of, and I think we've had this question before, Bret, is the fact that people need to understand that European cities are not as accessible as the United States. There's cobbled roads, there's steep stairs, there's a lot of those types of things. People are not required to get off the ship in every city, but they need to understand that European cities, whether you go in a river cruise ship or a tour or whatever, are not particularly the smaller cities, are not the same as cities across the United States. I didn't know if you wanted to add anything to my
Yeah,
answer.
very much so, that the destinations are not necessarily to our ADA standards, but
Yeah.
the other element is that a lot of the ports, you sometimes have to raft or have two vessels that come up along side, and if it's our ships next to each other, it's not a problem. You can come right off the gangway, but if it's another company, sometimes you have to go up and over their top deck, and those steps can be, I was just on some of our competitors, and the steps can be quite steep. And so that's part of it too. Just getting simply on and off the vessel can become a challenge. On our ships, it's very much accommodating a universal design. We do have an elevator between the main deck and the second deck, on the river ships, on our ocean ships, between all the decks. But yeah, the destinations really become the biggest challenge. The cobbled streets, they don't have necessarily the lift buses in Europe that we do here in the States
Well,
either.
you go to venues and they're not wheelchair accessible. So
Correct.
stairs are what the stairs are, so to speak. We had a question about triples. We'll go the opposite direction after having the question on singles. Do all of your ships have suites that accommodate three? I assume some of the smaller ones don't, like on the Douro, or
So all of our rooms are just double occupancy. So the suites do not actually accommodate a third. So it's just two per stateroom. So unfortunately, that does go back to the single supplement.
then I'll point out that when Bret and I talked about the cruise consultants at MOAA Vacations, my name wasn't mentioned. I'm not a cruise consultant. I'm sure anyone else you talk to here would have known that. Okay.
We don't put anybody on the couch on Viking.
There you go. There's a deck chair with your name on it. The question was, and I didn't hear this because I was answering questions while you were chatting, but when is the Rome to Barcelona trip usually held? Did you say
So
that's in winter, or?
we do sail that itinerary year round. The MOAA group is in November.
November. Okay.
But we do sail that year round. So we offer that in the summer. But what I kind of mentioned was that I prefer it in the quiet season, because summers, I mean, I've been in Florence and in Rome in the heat of summer, and it just standing in a beautiful, museum, but dripping in sweat just isn't as desired, or the Vatican
Well,
City.
and that's kind of the rationale that we had when we were blocking the group space to do that itinerary in November.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, this question's come up before, so I'm sure you have an answer. It is, why do I have to pay so far in advance when booking a year or two out? So
Yeah,
your
so
final payments are a little bit different than other vendors. And you know, somebody actually asked this, not in the Q&A, actually emailed this question during the webinar and I answered it. And before I let you answer it specifically on Viking, is I just shared the fact that, you know, everything we see in the industry is the average stateroom on a river cruise ship or an ocean cruise ship is sold 3 times, and the amount of effort, time, and money that goes in to fill a ship when they continually resell and resell cabins. And most people who aren't in the industry are surprised to hear that it's that high. So if you have a ship with 70 cabins, you're going to sell 200 cabins to fill those 70. And my understanding has always been that Viking's done it as a way to keep costs down,
it
um,
it
and
it
get
is.
committed early on. So go ahead and answer it from your perspective.
Yeah, it is a bit of it's commitment from our guests to say that they truly want to sail with us, which then allows us to commit to vendors and say, we have guests who actually are committed to sailing. We're able to leverage cost and things, and overall that then locks in the price and it allows us to give a better value back to our guests. So hopefully you see, if you were to wait and book that same itinerary a month out with a competitor, you would end up paying a higher dollar, for that same itinerary than what you pay, by locking it in right now. It's just $25, but there are a number of ways. We have our new Bon Voyage or booking on board that does extend that to 6 months. So if you do book a voyage while on board, that automatically extends that to a 6 month final payment. So just before, and onboard team will be able to hand that over to the MOAA Vacations team. So you simply need that booking number. Usually it automatically happens, but if it doesn't automatically happen, you just give John and the team a call, and they're able to take that over. Also, the 2 weeks before you sail, you can reach out to the MOAA team, and it's called our Bon Voyage package. And so 2 weeks before, you can reach out, and if you're looking at booking another voyage, you get those same amenities or that shipboard credit that you would get by booking on board, as well as 6 month pay in full. So that extends that to just 6 months before. But so there are some ways to get that a little bit shorter, but generally it is, as John said, it's a commitment from our guest, which means that our reservations team doesn't have to resell a room 3, 4, 5 times. But in the end, our goal is to push that value back to our guest in the cost.
There you go. Somebody asked, I think this is because I gave Victoria the wrong answer, that there were some suites that had 3 passengers. So with Viking, suites and staterooms all are only double occupancy. So Victoria, if you want to give me a call, or you can give the 800 or the 800 number call, or email a call, talk to a cruise consultant. They can talk to you about the options on that. Don asked about river cruises and ocean cruises for 2025. Oh, he's asking about our groups for next year. I don't know how many we have set for next year. Do we have any set up yet,
I
Brett?
don't think we have any set up, but
Yeah.
I think it's always, we're kind of looking at what we think would be the most
Yeah.
beneficial. But I'm sure if there's a group of MOAA, 3, 4 couples, we can easily get a group together, and there's group rates that we're able to put together. So if you've got a couple friends,
I
can
thought
make it
you were going
happen.
to steal exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, if you guys get the MOAA newsletter, and if you don't, you'll start getting it if this is your first webinar that you've attended. And in March, I actually, in my column, asked about suggestions for future signature groups. But if any of you have suggestions for groups, river, expedition, ocean, that we might do in 2025, even if you're just a single couple that's looking to go, drop us an email or give us a call. We're always looking for suggestions because, as Bret said, a lot of times it's Bret, Mike, and I chatting amongst ourselves of what we think people are going to be interested in. And I'll tell you, it's mostly this conversation between Mike and Bret. I don't talk to as many members as Mike does, so Mike normally has a good feel for what people are asking about. Bret, of course, can look at it from the Viking side and let us know what the popular itineraries or destinations are. And then the three of us kind of put our heads together and come up with what we want to offer as MOAA group departures. So if there's something that you would like to see offered in 2025, let Mike or I know, or let your cruise consultant know, or drop us an email. And as we move into 2025 and start setting up groups, we certainly look for everybody's input. I mean, your ideas are as good as mine. I'm not going to say they're as good as Mike's and Bret's, because they're kind of finger on the pulse kind of thing. But and there may have been one we offered before. There may be a reason that we don't offer it, which we can share with you. So I think that is it, that we've answered the rest of them. A couple of people were saying very informative, covered a lot. I would echo that sentiment. You really went through a lot of information. So reminder, we are going to send you a link to this webinar. We have to download it. We'll edit it. We'll upload it to YouTube. Never know how long that's going to take. Hopefully this evening we'll get it out to everybody. If not, you'll get it tomorrow. Once again, your friends and family are invited to join you. If you're going on your own, if you're joining one of the MOAA group departures, and if you and your friends and family book in April, each cabin will get that $100 per person onboard credit. So there is an advantage to booking in the next couple of weeks. So with that being said, Bret, fantastic job. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know you're really busy. You have hundreds of different accounts you work with, so we appreciate you taking, a couple hours out of your busy schedule to spend with us and the MOAA members. So I'm going to turn it over to you for the final word. But once again, thanks on behalf of everyone at MOAA and everyone who attended today for your time.
Yes, John, thank you for giving me this time, for being able to speak with this group. And our biggest thing with Viking is exploring the world in comfort, and we want you to have the opportunity to get out and see the world, and hopefully you choose to do that with Viking. But really do reach out to the MOAA Vacations team and choose your next vacation. And there's so much to see in this world, and there's so much going on that it's worth experiencing, tasting the flavors, the cultures. So come and join us and explore the world in comfort. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.